Well, hello and welcome to my whiskey den. It is good to see everybody. We are sorry we roped you in if you didn't keep up on the updates. We lied to you. Nancy Fraley is not going to be here tonight. She had an emergency with the distillery that gave her a call this morning, and she had to make a 16-hour drive to where that is to help them out. So when she gets back in a couple of days, we're going to reschedule that stream. She is totally excited to come on, which has me a little concerned and happy. But that's not going to be happening tonight. Tonight we are going to be reviewing and talking about Crouch Distilling from down in South Carolina. Columbia, right. South Carolina is where I think that one is. And then we're going to... Oh, you have the bottle. Okay, well, you put that up in a second when we get to it. Then we're going to be talking about Ben's, 5-6 samples he has here, the finishing he's been working on. We're going to go through that progression and probably be kind of buzzed up by the end of the night. So...
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. You son of a bitch. Open your eyes. But yeah, so I think we're going to jump into...
Theatrical pause.
Huh? No, she doesn't, Spencer. Actually, she does. She called me today, and that freaked me out. I'm just going to say it's Spencer. She must not know who we are, is what he said. I would tend to agree with you on that, but she called me, and she freaked me out when she called. So I had to kind of calm myself down just to get rejected. It was weird. But let's start off with this. Crouch Distilling from Columbia, South Carolina. It's their straight bourbon, 46%. What information do you have on them since they're down in your neck of the woods? Oh, and what the hell is everyone drinking out in the chat? I can be more relaxed this stream. Yeah. What are you all drinking? Obviously, we're starting with this. What are you fine people having this evening? Oh.
Hang on
What?
Well, while he's taking care of business, we can take care of business. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. Go through all the means that you need to get your whiskey den on. Jazz hands.
Or spirit fingers. I don't know what it is.
Spirit fingers.
Now we have all these problems. Let's have a vote. People in the chat, this is supposed to be a signal for Ben to do what Mike just did. And you know that we put this up for like 5 minutes. He said fuck off. So what is it? Is it jazz hands or spirit fingers, chat? Vote for it and let us know.
I don't think I like the name Spirit Fingers.
I don't know. We're talking about
I'm going to leave that alone.
It sounds a little personal.
I don't know. It sounds accurate. I don't know. Ooh.
All right.
All right, Ben. So what do you know about this distillery down by your neck of the woods?
All right. Crouch Distilling in Columbia, our capital, which is known around here as Satan's Armpit because it's typically the hottest area in the state. I don't know if when Lou Holtz was hired as the football coach, University of South Carolina, one of his first press conferences, he sat there and they asked him, "What do you think about South Carolina?" He said, or about Columbia. And his comment was, "Well, I didn't realize it was located directly over hell, but, so one thing you're going to see in this, I think it'll remind you a little bit of a Texas whiskey. It picks up that oak really well. But Crouch Distilling started by Phil and Jessica Crouch back in 2014. He was a miller with a local grain mill, so he had some extensive knowledge of grain, and he started brewing. And brewing led him to an interest in distilling. So in his kitchen, he worked up with a little pot still and kind of experimented a little bit and just felt like this was the natural progression for him. So they started their distillery, mainly focusing on whiskey, but then they branched out into rum and doing some fruit brandies as well. I haven't tried it, but I heard they have a fig brandy that's fantastic.
I heard about that too. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off. That one got me excited.
No, you're good. They also distill the Jimmy Redcorn, which we've done with Highwire Distilling in Charleston. They're the only distillery located in our capital here. And with that, the sad news is they're closing here at the end of the month. So they've got the rest of this week, and they'll be shutting their doors for good, as far as we know.
Yeah.
So
we apologize for
yeah.
not getting to this earlier. We didn't know that was going to be happening, but that sounds like it's going to be happening to quite a few other craft distilleries. So we're sorry to see them go, because just on the nose on this, pretty interesting. And that's, like Ben said, that sounds like they were doing a lot of neat stuff, like the fig brandy. They had like a single malt rye, where it was all malted rye. Like you said, Jimmy Redcorn and a couple other things. It was they were doing some interesting stuff. So if this is good, get your ass over to that place and then by the end of the weekend and pick up some bottles, because you're not going to be able to get it again, most likely. I mean, someone might buy the company, and use some of the recipes and stuff, but just on the nose on this one, I'm going to say they were on their way to doing some. If they weren't already doing really nice stuff, they were definitely on their way, because this smells really nice on the nose.
Yeah, it's 46%. Bottled in 2019, batch 1, bottle 177, and they don't give the percentages, but their mash is blue corn, malted barley, and malted rye, and 2 years in new white oak.
Very, 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 very good. Oh, sorry, I got confused there for a second. All right. So on the nose, I'm not getting any green piney notes that I would expect to get off a 2-year. And looking at the color for a 2-year, I think this, I don't know if that's what you meant, Ben, but it's pretty dark for a 2-year.
Yeah,
it is.
And it's very oily, very viscousy. You can spin it. Probably not going to be able to see it. It takes a while to come down, but once again, really big fat legs every so often here. So it's got some, I don't know. There's like the hey, that like Mark said, that's meant for in a CD motel room. You leave that alone from now on. We're not bringing that up anymore.
Give me whiskey, you get the spirit fingers.
That's what she said.
Okay, so on the nose, I'm getting actually like this really nice kind of pastry almost. Like a bready note, a pastry note to it.
Yeah, with a little custard.
Custard.
Or like or like a cream cheese frosting on it or something. There's just something dairy that I'm getting.
And it smells dense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go right to like a brown sugar on the nose, because I usually skip over the simple things that are in there and look for the deeper ones, but that's pretty up in the nose right away.
I get a similar nutty cereal to Rua.
Yeah, there's definitely a nuttiness to it.
Yep.
That I get the rich molasses, brown sugar, kind of a really dense vanilla, and there's a little bit of a minerality to it to me, like this mineral note, chalkiness.
I was going to go cashew on the nut for me, and Spence brings up like a cream cheese Danish. On the note, maybe a little subdued for that, but yes, I was going to say I can see where you're going with that type of thought on it.
But it's definitely in pastry territory.
Yeah.
So, and they were specifically using, I think, like some of the corns and malting the other stuff to kind of get that richer flavor from it. Is why they're going with the blue corn for sure instead of the standard stuff.
I mean, this is another one, just the nose. If you're like, oh, here, try this bourbon. It's like, this does not smell like bourbon.
Oh no.
It's. I mean, it's. I would guess it's an American or a blended whiskey, but not a bourbon. All right.
Yes, it's a pastry thing with a blob of cream cheese in the middle. But, just a small blob, not like, some people will do half the Danish. It's just a little bit, right in the middle there.
Or if you want to use words people don't like, dollop. a dollop.
Okay, I'm jumping into this one.
Yeah.
And it's got, like I said, it's got almost like it was like a sherry finish barrel, like with some of the color on this. It's it pulls a little bit of red, pink, dark note out of it. I know it's hard to see there, but I'm getting it on my side. So.
Oh man. Man, even more so a pastry with nuts on it.
Okay, I'm upset. I'm really. If you live by this place, you should just go pick some up. I'm not saying cheat them down and be like, I know you got 50 bottles left and you want to get rid of them, but I mean,
pay whatever they're asking for it.
Yeah,
for probably, I'm guessing anywhere from 35 to 50, which is most craft distillers for something. This is worth it.
It's really good. It's super interesting.
Yeah, it's in that 35 range, and you can find it at Total Wine around the state. So hopefully there's still some bottles on the shelf depending on your location.
And if it is at a Total Wine, remember that you can have Total Wines shipped to other Total Wines at your request.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mark brings up a good point. So I could just go buy a barrel.
That very well could be.
I'll say it. Whoever wants to go in on a barrel, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, send the email below. I'm sure we get some takers.
It's damn tempting. Wow. Okay, we'll get back to the tasting notes on this in a second. I just was surprised by how smooth it was going down for a 2-year. It was really well rounded.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't guess this is a 2-year whiskey.
No.
This is comparable to like a 6-year-old Kentucky.
It is just really interesting.
The front end almost has like a vanilla extract.
Yeah.
Like in the first little bit. Then you get some other stuff. And since I'm on the tail end stuff, now it opens up with a minimal amount of heat and a little bit of like mint or spearmint on the end for me.
Then
the barrel comes through. This is damn.
Yeah, there's a little bit of peppery in there, and yeah, that barrel char on the end, on the back end of it's actually really lovely in my opinion. But
yeah,
and it's sticking around for quite a while. Like this mid-level intensity of flavors, mid to low, but it's sticking around a long time in the finish.
But like you said, it puts me in the mind of Rua a little bit, kind of that bear claw pastry. You get that big vanilla, and on the middle, you really get that kind of
it's in the family
pastry.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wonder, and of course you've had a lot more from your region, but I wonder if there's just some notes that carry over regionally.
Right.
And if the heavy cereal or the heavy, pastry note is something from the area.
Yeah. You could be getting into terroir with the grain if they're using local.
Because they weren't they using local and milling everything their own? Is that what you said?
As far as I know, yeah. They're milling their own. So, and I believe the grain as much as they're trying to use local. So
yeah, so I'm hoping he's still doing that, because if he does, they can come back at some point and start doing this again, because definitely not getting enough praise for it. Now I want to know I really want to know what the fig brandy and the other malted rye.
They had an unaged. They had a white dog rye as well. I'd seen on the shelf at one point.
Wow.
That I think would be interesting to try was the unaged malted rye. But this is putting me in the mind of a pecan twirl.
I was going to say the nut isn't a cashew on the flavor. Pecan is really a really good, accurate description. That's the thing I'm getting in the mid-range. Is the pecan nut, where I was getting these other things first, but I was missing what the hell was in the middle. Oh, Spencer, you mean this? You mean that, Spencer? I got this whole giant bottle from some guy on wheels. And that might get cracked open later too, but I gotta try to have some semblance of discerning things by the time we get to the comparisons Ben did. So but yeah, I almost want to go down there and go to a few distilleries down by Ben and see if it is this like baking pastry with like a little bit of a nut, and like every distillery seems to have like accents off of that. Right. But between those two, that's a really nice undertone between them both.
but they're also using really different. I mean, you're dealing with different grains. So Rua, that's barley.
Right.
This you've got malted barley, but they're using blue corn. You go down to Highwire Distilling in Charleston, and it's Jimmy Red Corn. And then even Charleston Distilling, their bourbon you guys should have some samples of as well. That's a whole different mash bill as well. So,
What are you saying? That's the undertone. I like the undertone of the Southeast. That's earthy. It's a nice earthy, full kind of feel you get from it.
Man,
water doesn't take anything away. Gives a little bit of some black tea note comes out of it.
Yeah.
A little bit more stringency, but overall, it really doesn't tamp the flavors down much at all.
No. I mean, this is another one that I could honestly see. It's your daily.
Yeah.
And you'd be very happy to have it.
For 35? Oh, yeah. This is but no, does not in my mind does not taste like a bourbon.
No.
No. If you were going to put this next to a Kentucky bourbon, you're not even in the same ballpark. Maybe it's because I'm thinking the wood is not, for some reason, is not tacking in as hard on these as it does in Kentucky. Maybe it's because you're pulling early.
Right.
This was new oak, so I don't know, but
between the blue corn and it was malted rye and malted barley on here. I mean, this is what I really like about the craft stuff is because, you could, if you put this in a blind to taste bourbons, I think it would lose because everyone's got this preconceived thing of, well, bourbons have to do this for me. But you put this in blind with whiskeys, it's so interesting, and you're like, oh, this is why the bourbon is different, because the bourbon, it's using blue corn, it's using malted rye, malted barley. Oh, and it's only 2 years old. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. And I think you're also, they're probably pulling early because you are going to get a big barrel impact similar to Texas, because that climate in Columbia is going to be very similar to what they've got in Central Texas. You're getting 100 plus degrees in the summertime. And I've been down there for the big Clemson Carolina football game in November, and you're in a t-shirt and getting sunburned. So,
yeah, that's no fun. But
wow.
Yeah, congratulations to Couch. And if, like we said, if you're in the area, stop in this next weekend. Go down there, see what they have. I don't think, if this is what comes out of this at 2 years, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with much else that they are that they're selling.
Yeah.
So, and else we wanted to bring this up also, not because we wanted to kind of crap on them, but this is going to be happening to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
In the upcoming, say, 6 months to a year, you're going to be seeing people who are really respecting what they're doing and putting in the time and the effort and coming up with really nice stuff, and it's going to go away. So some of going, like we're saying, going to get those bottles at the tail end of stuff, when you hear it's happening, you might be getting something that never happens again. Doesn't seem like a big thing right now. 10 years from now, when you have your, you went through your first bottle and you have your second one and you get to break that out, it becomes like a special occasion thing at that point. Like, it's something you're never going to have again. And I don't know, but cheers to them, because this was really nice. And maybe, just maybe, if everyone emails me or Mike or Ben, it's down there somewhere in the wordings of Jive down there. Maybe we'll look into a barrel. Maybe it won't be crazy expensive at this point. Maybe they do have one sitting around. Then I think we have to get more licenses, but fuck it. I think it might be worth it. It might be really worth it to, I don't know. Yeah.
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Oh, now Pat's going to have to blend this later on with Rua and just see what happens. But I digress. We'll get away from that. We'll get away from that altogether. We're going to put down the really nice whiskey.
That was a great sample to whoever magically made that show up at my door.
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you, because that was nice.
Yeah.
So, moving on.
Spirit fingers to you. Not that one.
Not what? Oh. What was the next one we want to start off with, Ben? In your barrel aging experiment, because you went hyper fast. I think you're almost like on 5 or 6 different spirits being put in the barrel. Is the Calvados one the next one in the line of stuff that you were doing? Oh, you're muted, man. You muted yourself.
Yikes.
I can't even help you on that
good
one.
old kids. Yeah, the smart progression, I would start with the Calvados and go to the rye and then the Ardbeg. Just
Alrighty.
Yeah, and
without blowing the palate out for one for the other. So,
and Ben's right when he was answering Spencer. I would put this more of in an American malt. The flavor of what the Couch one was more of an American malt than even a whiskey. It had that really nice, rich kind of flavor to it. So.
And Patrick, you were talking about closing and distilleries and stuff. I saw a stat in an article today from the Independent Restaurant Coalition. It says they're estimating possibly 85% of independent bars and restaurants could close as a result of COVID. And there were several major restaurants and bars have closed in Colombia that had not reopened since all this hit. So
yeah,
well,
that's going to be a big factor with these distilleries.
That thing is one of those things where if people you can hold out or go away or almost go dark, because it might not be till next summer that everything works itself out and you get back onto moving at the pace like you were before, people coming in and getting that normalcy to it.
Yeah.
So if there's some way you can almost, like I said, go dark for 6 or 8 months, like we're shutting all the doors. Someone might come in every month and taste some barrels and bottle something, but we're gonna be quiet. And then when it comes back up, hopefully boom, because someone will take over those restaurants. I mean, there's going to be a point where things start to move forward again and start to bloom at that point. And it's if you can weather the storm and position yourself for that point, you could really blow up at that point. But like you said, 85% is just insane. Probably not in Wisconsin. A lot of people up here really don't give enough shits about it. Like restaurants are open, people are they don't care. I do on a lot of it. No, I did go out to eat once or twice, but I sat on the patio. I didn't go inside the cave that was small and have 30 people on the inside of it.
So you guys are Calvados virgins, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are Calvados virgins, right?
Yes.
So
Be
this
gentle.
is going to be your first. Okay. Spirit fingers.
I don't know where to go with that. I'm just gonna sniff it. Which makes me sound even worse. That's even worse.
I can tell you where to go with it.
Okay.
It's very appley.
And like a little, like a medicinal, like a cherry medicinal note, and I'm getting like a little bit of a light smoke somewhere in there, like in the background.
It reminds me of making apple cobbler when I'm camping.
This is 45. Holy cow.
Buttery apple, vanilla.
Yeah,
so
I'm
this
not
was
getting... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're up.
I was just saying this was a fine Calvados. So it was put into a 2-liter barrel that previously had Buffalo White Dog, had aged that. Spent 2 months starting, I think, back in February. Spent right at 2 months. It was 40 going in, and it came out 45. And it really picked up a lot of character from the barrel.
Huh.
It's the White Dog thing that was throwing me. I forgot that was the progression that you were moving in, because I was getting something in there that I just could not peg.
So yeah, I agree. The cherry note in there, which is interesting because Calvados is an apple brandy from specifically the Normandy area of France. But yeah, there's almost a candy cherry note that I get to me.
I don't want to call it like a throat lozenge or something, but it's got kind of the same smell to me, but it's a little less medicinally than that, than like a Ricola or a Halls or something. It doesn't have that that bite note to it, but it's got the flavors to it.
There's a lot of nice, or I get some good baking spice, like what you talked about, Crouching Mike Hidden Whiskey.
Okay.
But also, this I pulled about half the barrel a month in and let it spend the night with a French oak stave before marrying it back to the rest of the Calvados in the barrel. So, a little one night stand there.
What, one night with the Frenchman and then back in the barrel with you.
A little French tickler there.
This is okay. It compared to a whiskey, it is bright and a little more vibrant and thicker than a wine, but like it's not like a whiskey. It's I think if you were having a wedding or some type of reception, something exciting, I think this would do really well with a lot of people. You know, like the flavor wise to it. Jeez.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially more on the palate. I mean, that's a pie.
Very, very similar to what you're getting on the nose.
Yeah.
Flavor wise. But you can taste the white dog. Just there's like this little titch of heat. Or like white dog from it, or maybe just a little bit of that time in the barrel from that. That is like the second, maybe the second third to the last part, where that hides in there underneath it. But it's not sticking around for how oily it feels on the mouth.
Right.
It's very oily. I like that a lot.
There's a little bit of a grape note to it as well. To me, almost a candied grape on the palate. I don't get on the nose, but I get that on the palate a little bit. But this is my favorite style of brandy. That's what I've come to love. My father-in-law introduced me to Calvados a number of years ago, and I've been enjoying this for a while. So this is my first time getting to do a little barrel aging with it.
And right before the finish comes in, you get this little bit of like earthiness. Like everything else is fruit and exciting and high notes, and then there's just this titch of like a little earthiness to it, where I'd equate it to like a terroir feel, where it's like this. It's not like dirt, like Isla dirt, but it has this slight little bit of earthiness to it, where it's that's like a brown dirt. I did not eat dirt as a kid. Sorry, that comes out wrong. It sounded really bad. Not the dark dirt, but the brown dirt. It just doesn't. It just has like a little hit to it, and then it goes away. Maybe it's like a tobacco note. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of tobacco note in here for sure.
And this Calvados, it was like relatively pretty cheap, right?
Oh, it's like $14 a bottle.
That's
awesome.
My God,
really?
Yeah.
Well, everyone just found their cheap drink to have next to everything.
Yes.
And no kidding, just straight out of the bottle, it's really pleasant on its own, but the barrel aging really takes it to another level.
And I would agree with you. The Calvados, or at least what's in here, would go nice over an ice cream.
It is. I've done that a lot.
Sugary brown sugar. It's nice. I don't want to say I'm surprised I like that much, but it's just not. It's not as whiskey or oak barrel or anything like that. It's a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
It's a lot of flavor, not a lot of barrel.
Yeah,
is what I'm getting out of it.
Right now, that particular barrel has been refilled with Glenlivet 12. So we'll see what that Calvados does with the Scotch.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay, well then I was wrong, because I thought we were going to progress to the Irie, but that's just a whole different barrel.
That's a different barrel.
Yeah. That's a different barrel. So let me switch over here.
Go to the rye.
Go to the rye. Which the normal High West.
The high, you've got the normal rye to compare it to, and then you've got, I called it the Ryla.
Okay. So how did we get to the High West Ryla?
Okay. Again, same barrel. Started with the White Dog, the Buffalo Trace White Dog. It was then where do we go next? Refilled with Appleton Estate rum, and so the rum aged for a couple of months in that barrel, and then I bottled the rum, which turned out really good as well. And I refilled it with Ardbeg 10. So kind of replicating a little bit of what the Ardbeg, the 2019, the drum release.
So we're vaguely doing this out of order because we do have the.
It is out of order, but
okay. Well, this came after the Ardbeg one.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you're thinking that will crash our palate.
Exactly. So that's what. After I bottled the Ardbeg spent a couple of months in that barrel. Bottled the Ardbeg, and then it was refilled with the High West Double Rye. And that went for a total of 3 weeks. I put in one bottle. It went about a week and a half. And then I added a second bottle to it. After that, it evaporated and concentrated down. Added the second bottle, went about another week and a half, and then I bottled it. So 3 weeks total. And this one jumped in proof pretty good as well because it started out, started out 46, and I think it went up to, was it 52 or 54, somewhere 52%, I think.
52.
Yeah.
And you're putting all yours in the same spot now, right?
I've settled on my garage as being the best place for this. The heat and the weather that goes in there, as well as the temperature swings, I tend to get the proof driven upwards on the barrel, on whatever I'm doing, and it just seems to work in the wood really well in that spot. So.
Yeah. And just spinning backwards to the Calvados. Spencer, yes, I think you could make some excellent cocktails with the Calvados.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a whole show if you wanted to get a bottle of that and play with stuff and see how it worked out. I think that would be pretty good. Okay. And just because... Oh, let's see here. Just another question for Ben. 2 months. What size barrel we're using on this one?
They're 2-liter barrels currently.
2 liters.
Yep.
Okay. And before we move on, let's answer AJ's question. What should he drink next? A distilled spirit specialty, a Texas single malt, an Isla single malt, Highland single malt, bourbon, or a Texas bourbon? Jesus, man, you just have the whole gambit up there.
I mean, do you even have any Texas whiskey, Arthur?
Well, it's not whiskey; it's a single malt. So, I want to know what you're drinking. That's a distilled spirit specialty.
There you go.
That's the one I want to know what you have for that. So, when you let us know what that is,
would that be like a mezcal or something?
Fireball.
Fireball. There you go.
Arthur's doing fireball shots out of the freezer.
We'll bring him on to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Spencer's asking what Calvados that was again. Was that Berneroy, right?
Berneroy. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'm going back between. Oh, you have it.
Oh, look at that.
That's a nice label. Nothing fancy, but it's nice.
Yeah.
It does say fine.
It does say.
It is fine.
Okay.
That Ardbeg's not hiding out.
Nope.
No, you can smell on the nose. There's a distinctive difference where I was like, oh, I was going with the normal High West. I was like, yeah, that's okay. And I drank it, and it's got a little bit of it has black licorice in it. It's in there.
I can find you.
I can find you. It's okay. I mean, for me, not anything, not exciting from what you typically get from High West, where it's like a little blow your socks off sometimes.
Right.
A little more run-of-the-mill flavor. But then you put this, the High West Ryla. Oh, man, just a note that comes through on the nose. Just enough potency where it's like, this is completely different, and it's a whole new ballgame just on the nose.
Yeah.
And you are getting... This makes me excited to go to the other one because I am getting a little bit of that, like a little citrus pineapple-y note mixed in with the peaty smell, which I'm sure is coming from the previous barrel and is not coming from the rye that I just had.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Like in a crazy fun way.
Yeah.
That's a weird ride. Hold on. I don't even know where to go
Yeah,
with that
you
one.
start on this wave of Ardbeg and it just crashes into spice and cinnamon kind of rye. That for me, and what it does on the back end, that smoke and peat hit that rye and it turns into like this earthy chocolate note. And that's what I've enjoyed so much about this. And it's a funky ride. And I think personally, out of all the barrel aging experiments I've done, this has been my absolute favorite.
Like this progression of it, like this series that she came out with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's you get a little bit of Ardbeg and some brown sugar, a little bit of spice, not much, but then like halfway through, it rolls into the rye. It masks the black licorice flavor. It's no longer there. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit more like that. The smoke and stuff comes back at the very end for me. Like we were mentioning chocolate, I'm getting it now at the tail end and the finish. But I was just surprised how much the peaty flavor came back at the tail end. Like it was there a bit, went away, and then it like came roaring back.
What you
Mike's
thinking,
having
Mike?
a moment.
That's because I was finishing up on my I was having my other moment with my previous date, with the, and
Hands above the table from now on.
and then I just yeah, then I just jumped into the Irie, and yeah, I've only had one drink. I got to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's amazing how it does, how it roller coasters. Because like Ardbeg doesn't give up without a fight with anything at all.
Right.
I mean, it's just, but it's weird.
The
I
middle
love how it plays
section
with
is
the
rye. Sorry, the middle section is
Yeah.
rye, and like the two bookends are like a little peatier, and it's just it has like a campfirey smoke on the tail end for me that reminds me of Talisker Storm. Like the damped out campfire where it's got like water thrown on it, where you're getting some of that.
Yeah, it kind of, to me, it balances, or I don't say it balances out. It kind of takes out maybe or mutes a little bit of the more, a little bit of the briny kind of citrus and C notes you typically get with Ardbeg, and it really just, what's there is the peat and the smoke, kind of a little bit of iodine, a little bit of peat, and kind of like this charred wood smoke that's there. And that just, I don't know. I love the interplay with the rye on this.
Yeah, and on the front part, I'd almost say you were getting a little bit of like a bourbon sugary brown sugar note, like on the first third of it on your tongue.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead, sir, Mike. You haven't.
No,
said
I don't lose the saltiness to it, but the saltiness, it's a smoked salt, like a smoked sea salt. So it's still there because you get that bite of it. You're like, oh, but it's not this. It's not the same. That's a fun ride.
All right. Here's what it kind of alludes to me, like gingerbread, fresh baked gingerbread, and somebody made like a sugar icing with Ardbeg. And so you got this, it's sweet, it's like sugary sweet, but it's got that smoke and peat to it, kind of drizzled over this dark molasses kind of gingerbread. That's for me what it kind of, I don't know, what it brings to mind as I'm going through it.
I gotta have more of it, and I've had 2 light pours to try to figure this out, but I'm afraid I'm just gonna have to pour a larger pour to figure this out.
I think the part I like the beginning. I love how the middle shows up. The middle of it shows up rye and sticks around. But my favorite part is how the rye gets overpowered. It's like it's arm wrestling match, and it was like, oh, rye, and then Ardbeg was like, fuck you, and slams it to the ground at the end. And it's like, I'm coming through. Not hard, like he was like Ardbeg was wore out in the arm wrestling match, but he's like slams it down.
Yeah,
because it is.
It's like it's a road trip that the scenery changes quickly.
Yeah,
and it's like you're just moving the whole time, and it's that's just crazy about that, because the thing I can't get over. Well, I mean, rye can stand out. Now, High West Double Rye, I mean, that's no slouch, but Ardbeg does not lay down for you to scratch its belly, for anybody. No. And it is just, it's like it took a back seat for a little bit. And that's just so odd how it did that.
I think Ben's Ardbeg drum version picked up the two spots of the rye that were not very interesting for me. I went back to it, the normal one.
Yeah.
The front third and the back third are not that exciting, and the Ardbeg, whatever Irie part of the barrel just digs its teeth into those two spots and really picks up the whole ride. So if you want some, ask Ben.
Have this left.
That's actually a fair amount.
Yeah. I put 2 bottles in. I got 1.5 out. That's how much Angel Share in 3 weeks' time.
Oh. Well, small barrels and stuff. It's been around.
Yeah, exactly. The smaller the barrel, the more you're going to lose. And, you're going to lose some of that to absorbing into the wood, but you're going to lose it to Angel Share too. So.
Ooh. Yeah, you guys are right. June Toast is one that's very good out there. I like stuff that's finished in some mezcal barrels now, or even tequila barrels. I'm finding more and more that I like a little bit of that in parting. But this is interesting. Yeah, I can see how this, not even having the Ardbeg version that came before this, how this was probably your most exciting layout of like barrel aging stuff, because there's a nice transition of things here.
The Ardbeg is fantastic, and as full-fledged member of the cult, I love my freaking Ardbeg, but something about the way this rye and the Ardbeg played together, I think I've enjoyed that the most out of all of it. But
just the residual mouthfeel from it. I mean, this
hangs around.
Yeah, this is a really good experiment. I mean, well done. It is. Yeah. It's just kind of baffling. It's like I need to have a lot of this so I can really figure out what it's doing to me.
This is one that I would like to see Rex and Daniel try.
Yeah.
Blind
as a just to throw them off and be like, what the hell? Because it is, even though, like we're saying, it has distinctive flavors at sections that take over, nothing is really spiky.
Right.
Like nothing. I mean, you get like the flavors come through, but it's not like there's any barrel or heat on it. At 52%, I would say it's nominal.
Yeah.
At best.
I would not have picked 52%, I can tell you that.
Yeah. And it was, I think this one also was a little bit tough because you realize how quickly that Ardbeg's going to take over. The peat's just going to take over everything. So I knew it couldn't go very long in the barrel. It was just trying to, take a sample each week and see where it's at and figure out, well, okay, I think I'm at the right point. If I go any longer, the Ardbeg's just going to completely take over, and you don't get that balance and interplay with the rye.
Yeah.
But
at what point did you start picking up the change? Well, I should say the drastic change in it, or was that just kind of a pleasant surprise afterwards?
I checked it one day in the barrel, and you could already, first thing off the nose was Ardbeg. You could see that coming off on the nose. On the taste, it was still more rye, but it was starting to pick up some of the peat in the Ardbeg. And then at a week and a half in, it was going totally Ardbeg. I mean, you could get a little bit of the rye off of it, but it was getting way more Ardbeg. So that's when I added the second bottle of rye and let that go another week and a half, and that just seemed to balance it out pretty well. So.
And Aaron was wondering if the proof changed with the Angel Share. Yeah, it went
exactly.
up like almost 8%, 7-8%.
With Angel Share, you're losing two things. You're either losing alcohol or you're losing water, and that depends on your temperature and humidity. And so where I'm at here in South Carolina, right now it's hot and it's high humidity. So what's evaporating more is the alcohol. The water, and the alcohol is being left behind. So your proof is going up. Mm-hmm. It's the opposite. If I age it in my basement, where the temperature is more stable, that everything is more steady, proof will go down. I'll lose more alcohol evaporation there. But in the garage, with the heat and the temperature swings and the humidity, it's the water that evaporates out.
Okay, it ruins the normal high double rye for me. I'm almost getting like a weird toothpastey kind of minty flavor from the rye now.
Yeah.
You ruined the other one for me. That's not good at all anymore. That's pretty bad. No, High West, I'm not saying your stuff is bad. I'm just saying that the progression of things has enhanced what you guys did. I almost feel like they're gonna make that like a Christmas release, like next like Midwinter Night's Dram. Like there's this other one that's like Crumpus or something. Crumpus. This is the one next to it, and it's like
they do have their campfire.
I like campfire. I've always liked campfire. But I mean, like, if I were them and they could get like an Ardbeg barrel that wasn't completely like super dried out, which, you know, bullshit, it's coming across the seas. But like that, like, yeah, I would name it Krampus, whatever you want to call it, and just have that right next to it. Be like, oh, you were good, you get this. You were bad, you get that. You know, like just play the game all night. That's right. That's exciting.
So Spencer was asking if I put any American single malts in the barrel. I have not done that yet. I would like to play around with Balcones because I'd love to season a barrel with that and then figure out something to put in to follow up, or season something before and then put in the Balcones single malt. I think that would be a fun one to play with. But
when we talk,
I haven't wanted to mess with the Rua yet because that's just so perfect.
Yeah, I'd be really afraid to do that. I mean, well, for one, you got to make sure you got to have a couple of donor bottles, and the problem with those bottles is you look at them going, I need to keep those on hand in case something happens to my existing ones.
Right now, yes. And then you also look at them realizing you're going to lose about half of one of those bottles depending on or even a whole one depending on how far you let it go.
Now, I mean, I could imagine what Rua would do to a bottle to a barrel to season it. I mean, it would be so good.
Well, shit, I would start, if you're going to do that, you might as well start with the port and then toss in the Rua and then see where it goes from
do your own port finish.
Yeah. Do your own port finish and then play off of that with something else.
Yeah.
Because that would be some
layering. Going back, unfortunately, to the places that are closing, I in no way would advocate going and buying up everything and being one of the douchebags that, try to snag stuff and profit off of it. But if there's any distilleries that you like, small distilleries they are still open, they are still operational, do what you can to help. I mean, even just getting their pre-made cocktails, things like that they'll put out. There's might be because they're not selling whiskey, but they're selling shirts, or they're selling other stuff. Get some glassware, do something to try to throw some love their way. Cause, I mean, it really is. It's pretty scary. I mean, even some we've talked to have said how they're afraid for themselves.
Yeah.
Not everybody's lucky.
I'm going to jump out and jump right back in 1 second. I'll be right back. It's just a little foggy.
Yeah.
He's foggy.
Support your local craft people.
Exactly. Speaking of which, buying t-shirts. I didn't think about that. I got my Blom Brothers Essential AF shirt with social distancing.
And the face mask on.
That's right. Social distancing and face masks.
That's awesome. All right. So have you poured the Ardbegs?
I have. I've had all of those now.
Okay.
And I was bouncing back and forth between the High West Ryla and the Ardbeg Irie. I was going back and forth between the two of them.
And Wheels is right. He sent out some samples over to Whiskey Crusaders, who's going to go on in about 10 minutes. So we're going to move forward as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
It seems it's going to be an exciting night with that, and we'll see what they think, because there's been some other people that have had it recently and have praised it, but even was it Scott on my bourbon journey? He picked up a couple other notes I hadn't gotten. I went back and I'm like, I do get a little tangerine kind of note in there that I flew over. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of the ones that everyone's likes. So I'm going with Ben's version, the Ardbeg Irie 10-year in a aged rum barrel, 55%. He's trying to mimic the drum. The drum is somewhere amongst my samples, supposedly.
Yeah, I'm
still looking vaguely off into the realm over here because I can't find it right now. Either that or my kids stole it because he asked me if I was going to do whiskey and then laughed at me tonight. So maybe, yeah, it's one of those ones that's like, what is it doing in the Magic School Bus? What the hell?
Yeah.
Have fun with whiskey, dipshit.
Oh, and AJ, no, I have not seen Matt. I was going to go up and meet him at the distillery today, but I held off because I went to eat someplace, and one of the people at the place decided they had COVID, so I didn't want to go up to Matt and Chris and possibly spread that around, so I was not going to be that douchebag that ruins people's vacations, or when you get home and screws that up. So I decided to stay home, but he was up there and did a distillery of Hatch Distilling in Egg Harbor with Chris, and Chris is exceptionally nice. I'll be going up there sometime later this summer after I know everything's kosher, and we're going to be doing a show with him too.
Was Chris? He was at the
yes.
He was at the other distillery before, right?
I don't know anything about that.
The one in the
I don't know anything about that, Mike.
I mean, previously employed. Wasn't he previously employed elsewhere?
He was previously employed.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
He was previously employed at other places.
So Ben, are you doing drum with the Irie?
I do. I have them.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay, the Ardbeg does not sound. I think the Ardbeg on the high west one smelt more pungent and pokey than this.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm let down, but the rye did something where I think it kicked the notes up, like kind of stirred up some of the stuff going on inside that one.
Yeah, this, I don't know if you'll be able to see. The one I did is a little bit darker than the drum. But,
one is well hydrated. The other one's maybe you just ate some asparagus.
Yeah.
You can tell there's a rum barrel right off the nose, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not the first sniff, but I was gonna say once you get past that first third or half,
So I think that's
you're
what
getting a rum barrel.
And that's where I heard the most complaints about Ardbeg drum was that people couldn't pick up the rum enough in the Ardbeg. It was to a lot of people, they were like, "Well, this just tastes like Ardbeg 10. I don't get it." I was able to pick up some of the nuance and there's some grilled pineapple. I get this white chocolate note in the drum. Some other subtleties there, but I thought it was pretty good. I've enjoyed the drum, but kind of taking that, I'm like, well, maybe it could go just a little bit further and get a little bit more rum influence, and let's see where that goes. But
there's a little more of like kind of a solventy kind of acetone note on the drum versus the Irie.
Okay, now on my flavor, I can get even how much. I don't want to say it waited till the finish till the rum started to kick up for me. Like it was in there slight, but the finish is where the rum barrel or the rum finish starts to work its way in to where you overlapped it on this.
Okay. Yeah, see, before this, I've never had drum. And the pineapple's there, and I kind of have a little
Yeah.
bit of that pineapple mouthfeel, but it's not as much as I would have expected based on everything. It's kind of like seeing a movie after so many people have talked about it. I'm not getting what people find offensive about it.
Yeah.
It's nice, and I think it's got a nice it's an interesting mouthfeel to it. A nice flavor, a sweet flavor to the Ardbeg.
Okay, now that I'm chewing on your version, Ben,
Yeah.
you get much more rum. Once you take the time and let it sit in your mouth and chew it for 15, 20 seconds or so, you really get a little, that iodine note comes through in the finish now, or not iodine, but like a seawater kind of saltiness kind of comes through more so. But when the rum notes really come out more so in like say 10 to 20 seconds it's in your mouth. Like they really start to kind of pull up and come through that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Captain notes. Or not. No, I like to raise a knee every now and then. These are not Captain Morgan notes. What rum did you use again?
It was just Appleton.
Just Appleton
Just
Estate.
basic
That's right.
estate. Yep.
Mm. It's I think the rum just brings out a titch of sharpness in the finish where it's not a lot. It's just a split second where it goes boof boof. Where you get, like I said, a little bit of heat, a little bit of that little iodine kind of seawater kind of flavor that pops up for a split second. Then it really comes down sharp afterwards in the finish, but it pops up for a split second. Damn, I feel like I should have that Appleton one, but I'm pretty sure I drank that because, samples. You need to finish them. You can't just hold on to them forever. We got to send them out.
we reviewed that one a while back.
Mm-hmm.
So comparatively, yours with the drum, I do like that little bit of pineapple on the drum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, yours is better, but I mean, you can do something that Ardbeg could never do. I mean, yours is more craft and things that they could never do that with theirs. Right. I mean, they'd be selling it'd be a $300 bottle, and God forbid Ardbeg sell a $300 bottle of whiskey.
What? No way.
But yeah, yours wins. yours beats the drum. You bang the drum, Ben.
you get the nice rich kind of rum notes, a little
truffle shuffle here.
You said you were going to do that too. We'll see if you do. That'll be penalty for someone if they screw up on the stream. They have to do the truffle shuffle from
truffle shuffle.
Goonies never say die.
Yeah.
Well,
there we go.
I almost feel like I should have that on the split screen to click that in when someone screws up. Chunks just
that should be the intro. Yes, unrelated to our subjects that we're talking about tonight, Union Horse, who we've had on in the past, yes. Union Horse Distillery, one of their stills is named Chester Cobblepot instead of Copperpot.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Oh, all right. So Ben's wins again on this one.
Roof, baby. I love that movie.
It is. It is so good. It's a good movie all the way around.
Yeah.
So,
you want the nipple, AJ?
He does, and that would make it accurate. So Ben wins again.
I was going to say something stupid.
No way.
It's okay. At the end of the show, it's okay. You can do that.
He's got nipples like midgets' fists.
Now you're in trouble. But I think the High West one, after this Ardbeg one you did, I think is my favorite. I think that thing had a much more profound change on what was there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Ridiculous. That's why. Yeah, that's been my favorite out of these. So.
But we are at the hour mark, so I think we'll call it quits. But I'm going to let everyone who's still left here, who's not running away, know that we are doing another giveaway. We are going to be giving away some samples of Spirits of French Lick's very first rye release, the Maddie Gladden. Once I can make a flyer or ad that is appropriate, because apparently all our minds are horrific, I will bring that out. But just remember, watch out for that on Facebook, here on Instagram. We're giving away three samples because we're going to have them on July 14th, the day right after we talk to Single Cask Nation. They're going to be coming on. We're going to go on with them. We're going to be talking about the Maddie Gladden, and three of you will be able to taste along with us. If you want to jump on the stream, we'll let you. If you just want to comment in the chat with what you're getting, we respect that too. We want to start giving some people chances to taste what we're getting, because it is kind of like their inaugural release. And if you know why we were kind of just heading down the path of being in trouble, Maddie Gladden was...
She owned a brothel.
She owned several brothels, and we were trying to play off that, but maybe we getting too close to some lines, so we're just going to call it a giveaway. But yeah, it's always something to be excited from them. They have been releasing some really neat stuff. We're glad we had Jolie and Alan on before. We didn't get a bottle of something they just released, which is absolutely hysterical. I love what Alan's doing. Ben, you know about this. You've been commenting more than me. What's the name of the release they just released?
Unpretentious.
Unpretentious. And it is that he's being as pretentious as it can be, and it is fucking hysterical, man.
Yeah.
Should I read a little bit of, or do we need to just go ahead and get off here?
No, you can read a second. You can read something if you find it there.
Right, give me a second. Let me pull this up.
Because I was going to say, this one I think was finished in a port cask as well? I think it was the rye in a port, like a 2-year rye in a port.
Let me find his original post on this, because it's just absolutely.
But he's just taking poke fun at the industry in general and the whole marketing aspect, which I find great because I was into PR at one point, and I love when someone just kind of slashes back at the industry.
While he's looking that up, we've got Great Wagon Road is next week, correct?
Yes, Ollie from Great Wagon Road is going to be on, and that's where we will be discussing Rua and some of the other releases he has. How they're moving from their distillery. They're opening like a tasting room. I believe it's on Anderson. They're going to be moving over there to kind of make it a little more exciting. They just need a little more room, but they're going to keep the distillery where it's at. Basically, they're just going to open a bigger tasting room a little ways away. And that's going to be really fun. Ollie sounds like a fun guy. He has a great history, family. He's the one who was like grandfather was like running Irish moonshine.
Yeah.
Got caught, or like came over here and got caught. And I was like, I didn't know it was wrong.
Nobody told me.
Nobody told me when I got off the boat.
Yeah.
So I'll paint you with this. They're announcing their Unpretentious, which is a high rye bourbon finished in a port cask. Very limited, tasting room only release. Celebrates the reopening of their vintage cafe and tasting bar. Bottles are numbered, as always. Double pot distilled, low entry proof, non-chill filtered. He has some really interesting things to say, poking fun at the industry here. One ad, he chose a picture of the bottle. Holy Rashevsky Batman, I just checked secondary and this crotch shot is already drawing $200. Better get the Spirits of French Lick now and get one before the secondary hits $1,500. Can't believe no one has found the Dusty Gold Foil Cap Edition yet. Still just $42 at the winery.
And part of me was going that, like, I hope there is a gold foil, and like someone does take this off.
I would not be surprised.
Either that, or if we get a bottle, I'm going to take it off and put a gold foil on this to screw with and be like, oh, it says won a free barrel. What is this?
You got to get some old man to be on the show with you, jump up, do a jig.
His main description here is: those of you who know me know that I hate the marketing behind barrel finished bourbon, and that port finishes top the list for me. You also know I hate the image of bourbon as anything other than blue collar. So in the tradition of all things poking the angry bear, because the damn thing's all mouth and no ass, here's my tongue-in-cheek contribution: a super limited release high rye bourbon, 55% corn, 35% rye, 10% malt, aged 2 years in number 2 char medium toast barrels, and finished for 6 months in port cask. I made it even more ridiculously pretentious by calling it unpretentious and hipsterizing the label based off of the Cure Curiosity album label. This is, in fact, the most dickish thing I've done in the industry, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Did I also mention it's overproof and damn good? So there you go.
Yeah.
So
Good night, sweetheart.
That's going to be fun.
Good night.
yeah. So next week, like I said, we'll be talking to Ollie, stopping for that. That'll be great. Probably by then, I'll have the rescheduled time for Nancy Fraley. So thank you, everyone who showed up for that, and we suckered you in because that's what happened tonight. But hey, that happens. But yeah, we still have the full lineup going on, and we are adding to it. July 6th, when we're having Malcolm Phillips on, we will also be having at the tail end, since Arthur, AJ can't make it on that night, and neither can Tony, who won the free samples that night. We're going to pull on our good friend Colin, who is the owner of Cole Keegan or Santa Fe Spirits. He's going to come on after Malcolm's done giving his 5-point tasting method, and we're going to do a tasting with all three of the lineup, and he's going to be here to help us go through that and kind of give us a little more insight into it. So we're going to be trying to do some more of that where we pull you, the audience, in with some samples. Now, maybe not everyone gets one every time, but at least some people will get some each time, and you'll get to kind of either come on the show that point or, like I said, sit in the chat and kind of chime in with what you got and your opinions of it as we go through it. It's just to make things a twitch more interesting for you. It's always good to win free stuff. Come on. Yeah. Who doesn't want free stuff? I want free stuff. I mean, I got excited when we got our first free bottle. Who's going to give us? I mean, come on.
That was really exciting. Yeah, my other people in my household were like, "So?" I'm like, you don't understand. I do on the Single Cast Nation, which it's come up the 13th, because this one is a group that you join, and so you can get the bottles, much like Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, but it's more limited. There are retail releases for Single Cask Nation, and if you look on their website, singlecasknation.com, they'll tell you if there are retail ones available in your state, and you can get still single cask releases from certain distilleries if anyone wanted to play along, because it's kind of hard to play along with them because it's not like you can just go to the store and necessarily buy their stuff. But I would recommend, if you find one in your area, I do not think you would be disappointed in what you would come up with, and it would be kind of fun to play along with the chat. Anybody who could come up with the especially a retail release, which will be different than the member release. So that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, and if you can, it's worth joining the member release, but you have to be quick. Like when you see that email come through, you hop on it. There's one, I think it's still available as of today. To just shameless pimping. That is a 10-year-old blended malt. But it was in a single cask to their knowledge, and it's a blend of Edrington whiskeys. And it's really good. It's really good. Somehow some samples are going to make their way to Ben and Pat. I don't know how mules happen, but it's a Christmas miracle. It is. Yeah. God bless us, everyone. It's a 4th of July miracle. It is. But yeah, that's one that's it's a good release. So if anyone, you can still jump on it and get one of those bottles to you. All the shipping is $10 flat rate. Oh, that in itself is worth it, because hell, yes, shipping something to one of you. I mean, I didn't say anything. Sometimes sending things to people in other states costs more than that. Oh, like Christmas gifts and olive oil? Christmas gifts and olive oil just cost more than that to ship anyways. But I think we'll call her quits.
I think that's good. I want to thank Mike and Ben for being on again, and for everyone in the chat for showing up, staying on. Put on your jazz hands. There's no such thing as a spirit finger. It's a jazz hand. Put them up, and we will see you next week. There will be a review this week. Limousine Rye Cast Strength. And I don't know if there's going to be another one. We'll find out if we get excited about it by then. But check that one out, because it was a kick up a notch from the flavor profile of the original. So really well worth it again. So everyone have a good night. See you later, folks.
Cheers.
Cheers.